Scholarly consensus favored an estimate of roughly 55 million people, but numbers from various sources have ranged from 10 million to 100 million. 35. Encounters between European explorers and populations in the rest of the world often introduced local epidemics of extraordinary virulence. 36. According to the most extreme scholarly claims, as many as 90% of the Native American population of the New World died of Old World diseases such as smallpox, measles, and influenza. 37. Over the centuries, the Europeans had developed high degrees of immunity to these diseases, while the indigenous peoples had no such immunity. 38. Modern history. Map showing urban areas with at least 1 million inhabitants in 2006. Only 3% of the world's population lived in urban areas in 1800. This proportion had risen to 47% by 2000, and reached 50.5% by 2010. 39. By 2050, the proportion may reach 70%. 40. During the European agricultural and industrial revolutions, the life expectancy of children increased dramatically. 41. The percentage of the children born in London who died before the age of 5 decreased from 74.5% in 1731,749 to 31.8% in 1810-1829. 42. 43. Between 1700 and 1900, Europe's population increased from about 100 million to over 400 million. 44. Altogether, the areas populated by people of European descent comprised 36% of the world's population in 1900. 45. Population growth in the Western world became more rapid after the introduction of vaccination and other improvements in medicine and sanitation. 46. Improved material conditions led to the population of Britain increasing from 10 million to 40 million in the 19th century. 47. The population of the United Kingdom reached 60 million in 2006. 48. The United States saw its population grow from around 5.3 million in 1800 to 106 million in 1920, exceeding 307 million in 2010. 49. The first half of the 20th century in Imperial Russia and the Soviet Union was marked by a succession of major wars, famines and other disasters which caused large-scale population losses. Approximately 60 million excess deaths. 50. 51. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, Russia's population declined significantly from 150 million in 1991 to 143 million in 2012. 52. But by 2013 this decline appeared to have halted. 53. Many countries in the developing world have experienced extremely rapid population growth since the early 20th century, due to economic development and improvements in public health. China's population rose from approximately 430 million in 1850 to 580 million in 1953-54, and now stands at over 1.3 billion. The population of the Indian subcontinent, which was about 125 million in 1750, increased to 389 million in 1941. Winking sad smiley 55. Today, India, Pakistan and Bangladesh are collectively home to about 1.63 billion people. 56. Java, an island in Indonesia, had about 5 million inhabitants in 1815. It had a population of over 139 million in 2020. 57. In just 100 years, the population of Brazil decupled, x10, from about 17 million in 1900, or about 1% of the world population in that year, to about 176 million in 2000. or almost 3% of the global population in the very early 21st century. Mexico's population grew from 13.6 million in 1900 to about 112 million in 2010. 58, 59. Between the 1920s and 2000s, Kenya's population grew from 2.9 million to 37 million. 60. Milestones by the billions. World population milestones in billions. 61. Worldometers estimates. Population 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 0 year 1 8 0 4 1 9 2 7 1 9 6 0 1 9 7 4 1 9 8 7 1 9 9 9 2 0 1 1 2 0 2 2 2 0 3 7 2 0 5 7 years elapsed 200,000 plus 1 2 3 3 3 1 4 1 3 1 2 1 2 1 1 1 5 2 0. The UN estimated that the world population reached 1 billion for the first time in 1804. It was another 1-3 years before it reached 2 billion in 1927, but it took only 33 years to reach 3 billion in 1960. 62. Thereafter, it took 14 years for the global population to reach 4 billion in 1974. 13 years to reach 5 billion in 1987, 12 years to reach 6 billion in 1999 and, according to the United States Census Bureau, 13 years to reach 7 billion in March 2012. 63. The United Nations, however, estimated that world population reached 7 billion in October 2011. 64, 65. 66. According to the UN, the global population reached 8 billion in November 2022, 67, but because the growth rate is slowing, it will take another 15 years to reach around 9 billion by 2037 and 20 years to reach 10 billion by 2057. 68. Alternative scenarios for 2050 range from a low of 7.4 billion to a high of more than 10.6 billion. 69. Projected figures vary depending on underlying statistical assumptions and the variables used in projection calculations, especially the fertility and mortality variables. Long-range predictions to 2150 range from a population decline to 3.2 billion in the low scenario, to high scenarios of 24.8 billion. 69. One extreme scenario predicted a massive increase to 256 billion by 2150, assuming global fertility rate remained at its 1995 level of 3.04 children per woman. However, by 2010 the global fertility rate had declined to 2.52. 70. 71. There is no estimation for the exact day or month the world's population surpassed 1 or 2 billion. The points at which it reached 3 and 4 billion were not officially noted, but the International Database of the United States Census Bureau placed them in July 1959 and April 1974 respectively. The United Nations did determine, and commemorate, the day of 5 billion on the 11th of July 1987, and the day of 6 billion on 12 October 1999. The Population Division of the United Nations declared the day of 7 billion to be the 31st of October 2011. 72. The United Nations marked the birth of the 8 billionth person on the 15th of November 2022. 73. 67. Global demographics. As of 2020, the global sex ratio is approximately 1.01 males to 1 female. 75. Approximately 26.3% of the global population is aged under 15, while 65.9% is aged 15-64 and 7.9% is aged 65 or over. 75. The median age of the world's population is estimated to be 31 years in 2020, and is expected to rise to 37.9 years by 2050. 76. And GT80. 77.580. 75 77.5. 72.5 75. 70 72.5. 67.5 70. 65 67.5. 60 65. 55 60. 50 55. 2015 map showing average life expectancy by country in years. In 2015, the World Health Organization estimated the average global life expectancy as 71.4 years. 74, according to the World Health Organization. The global average life expectancy is 73.3 years as of 2020. With women living an average of 75.9 years and men approximately 70.8 years. 77. In 2010, the global fertility rate was estimated at 2.44 children per woman. 78. In June 2012, British researchers calculated the total weight of Earth's human population as approximately 287 million tons. 630 billion pounds, with the average person weighing around 62 kilograms, 137 pound. 79. The IMF estimated nominal 2021 gross world product at $94.94 trillion, giving an annual global per capita figure of around $12,290. 80. Around 9.3% of the world population live in extreme poverty, subsisting on less than $1.9 per day. Winking sad smiley. 81. Around 8.9% are malnourished. 82. 87% of the world's over 15s are considered literate. 83. As of April 2022, there were about 5 billion global internet users, constituting 63% of the world population. 84. The Han Chinese are the world's largest single ethnic group, constituting over 19% of the global population in 2011. 85. The world's most spoken languages are English, 1.132b, Mandarin Chinese, 1.117b, Hindi, 615m, Spanish, 534m, and French, 280m. More than 3 billion people speak an Indo-European language, which is the largest language family by number of speakers. Standard Arabic is a language with no native speakers, but the total number of speakers is estimated at 274 million people. 86. The largest religious categories in the world as of 2020 are estimated as follows: Christianity, 31%, Islam, 25%, unaffiliated, 16%, and Hinduism, 15%. 87. Population by region. 6 of the Earth's 7 continents are permanently inhabited on a large scale. Asia is the most populous continent, with its 4.64 billion inhabitants accounting for 60% of the world population. The world's 2 most populated countries, China and India, together constitute about 36% of the world's population. Africa is the second most populated continent, with around 1.34 billion people, or 17% of the world's population. Europe's 747 million people make up 10% of the world's population as of 2020, while the Latin American and Caribbean regions are home to around 653 million, 8%. Northern America, primarily consisting of the United States and Canada, has a population of around 368 million, 5%, and Oceania, the least populated region, has about 42 million inhabitants, 0.5%. 88. Antarctica only has a very small, fluctuating population of about 1,200 people based mainly in polar science stations. 89. Population pyramid of the world in continental groupings in 2023 current world population and latest projection according the UN. Population in millions and percent of the global population in that year. 90. Region 2022 percent 2000